What if Johanna Mason became the leader of the rebellion? A Hunger Games alternate reality story. What if the events of the Hunger Games had unfolded differently? What if the rebellion against the Capitol had not begun with Katniss Everdeen and the Mockingjay? What if it had started years earlier, led by someone angrier, more experienced, and far less willing to forgive? Sometimes, the person who understands oppression most deeply is also the person most likely to recreate it. What if Johanna Mason had transformed her victory in the Hunger Games into the beginning of a revolution? How would her leadership affect Katniss, Peeta, Finnick, Prim, Gale, and every district fighting for freedom? Would Johanna build a better Panem? Or would she create something even worse than the Capitol? This is a glimpse into another reality, one that might have existed if Johanna Mason became the first true leader of the rebellion. Before Johanna Mason became a victor, she was known as a frightened girl from District 7. During training, she pretended that she could barely lift an axe. She cried during interviews, avoided confrontation, and convinced the other tributes that she would be one of the first to die. It was an act. Once the stronger tributes had eliminated one another, Johanna revealed what she truly was. She could climb, move silently through forests, and handle an axe better than almost anyone in the arena. She waited until the final tributes believed she was harmless. Then she killed them. When Johanna was declared the victor, the Capitol audience celebrated her transformation. They believed they had witnessed the rise of an unexpected champion. Johanna understood the truth. She had survived because she had learned to lie more convincingly than the Capitol. After returning to District 7, President Snow attempted to control her as he controlled other victors. He expected her to attend parties, entertain wealthy citizens, and become a symbol of Capitol generosity. Johanna refused. Snow threatened her family. She still refused. Within months, everyone she loved was dead. The Capitol claimed they had been killed in accidents. Johanna knew better. She stopped pretending to be frightened. From that moment forward, she lived for only one purpose. President Snow would eventually lose everything he had taken from her. Johanna's position as a victor allowed her to travel throughout Panem. The Capitol believed she was attending celebrations and mentoring tributes. In reality, she was studying the districts. She learned which mines produced capital weapons, which forests supplied construction materials, and which railways carried food toward the city. She memorized peacekeeper schedules and identified the officials who could be bribed, threatened, or turned against Snow. Johanna's first ally was Finnick O'Dare. Finnick had been forced to entertain powerful Capitol citizens since he was a teenager. Those citizens revealed secrets while believing he was only beautiful and harmless. Johanna wanted names. Finnick gave them to her. Together, they created a hidden network among the victors. BT helped develop coded messages that could be transmitted through Capitol broadcasts. Wires identified repeating patterns in surveillance systems. Chaff and Cedar carried information through District 11, while Haymitch quietly moved messages between District 12 and the Capitol. The victors had always been displayed as proof that the games could be won. Johanna intended to turn them into proof that the Capitol could be defeated. Her rebellion began without speeches or symbols. A train carrying weapons disappeared in District 6. A lumber shipment from District 7 was destroyed by fire. Power failed across 3 Capitol factories after BT inserted a hidden command into their control systems. Snow believed these incidents were unrelated. Johanna made certain that he continued believing it. The price of obedience. Johanna's rebellion was effective because she understood fear. She knew the Capitol frightened people into silence, so she created a different kind of fear. Officials who assisted Snow began receiving pieces of wood marked with a single axe cut. The message was simple. The rebellion knew who they were. Some officials disappeared. Others switched sides. Finnick disliked this strategy. "We are supposed to give people a reason to join us," he told Johanna. "Not another reason to be afraid." Johanna sharpened her axe while he spoke. "Fear works. That is what Snow says." Johanna stopped sharpening. "Snow kills children for entertainment. I threaten people who help him. It will not always remain that simple." Johanna looked at Finnick. "You can afford to believe in simple choices because people still love you." Finnick understood what she meant. Johanna had no family left to protect. No home remained that she feared losing. That made her fearless. It also made her dangerous. the 74th Hunger Games. Years later, Katniss Everdeen volunteered for her sister at the District 12 reaping. Johanna watched from the capital. She had seen many tributes cry, beg, and promise to return home. Katniss did none of those things. She stepped forward because she loved someone more than she feared death. Johanna recognized immediately that Katniss could become powerful. Haymitch sent a coded message to the rebel network. The girl may matter. Johanna disagreed. She is 16, she told Finnick. She is not a leader. She does not need to be. Every rebellion needs someone willing to make decisions. Finnick watched Katniss on the screen. Sometimes it needs someone people want to follow. Johanna disliked the difference. During the games, Katniss allied herself with Rue. When Rue died, Katniss covered her body with flowers and raised 3 fingers toward the cameras. District 11 responded with unrest. Johanna finally understood what Finnick had seen. Katniss did not command people. She reminded them what they still cared about. When Katniss and Peeta threatened to eat the poisonous berries, Johanna expected the game makers to let them die. Instead, the capital declared 2 victors. Snow had blinked. Johanna stood before the television and smiled. For the first time, Panem had seen the capital surrender. The Mockingjay and the Axe Johanna wanted Katniss brought into the rebellion immediately. Haymitch refused. She has just survived the arena. So did we. And look what it did to us. Johanna ignored him. She traveled secretly to District 12 during the victory tour. She met Katniss in an abandoned building near the mines. Katniss raised her bow when Johanna entered. Johanna laughed. If I wanted you dead, you would not have heard me. Katniss did not lower the weapon. Johanna explained that uprisings had begun in several districts. She described the Victor Network and the plans to weaken capital transportation systems. Katniss listened but did not agree to join. What happens after Snow is gone? Katniss asked. We take control. Who is we? The people willing to fight. Katniss lowered her bow slightly. That is not everyone. Everyone else will benefit. Katniss studied her. You sound like the capital. Johanna's expression hardened. The capital says people need to obey because they are weak. I say people need to obey until we win. And after that? Johanna had no answer that satisfied Katniss. The meeting ended badly. Johanna decided Katniss was too emotional to lead. Katniss decided Johanna was too angry to trust. The Quarter Quell President Snow announced that the tributes for the 75th Hunger Games would be chosen from the existing victors. Johanna immediately understood his purpose. He intended to destroy the rebellion's leaders inside the arena. The Victor Network created a rescue plan. Katniss would be protected because the districts had begun treating her as the Mockingjay. BT would destroy the arena's force field, and District 13 would send hovercraft to recover the surviving rebels. Johanna accepted the plan, but changed one detail. Katniss would be rescued. Peeta would not be considered essential. Haymitch objected. Johanna dismissed him. This is a war. We cannot save everyone. Katniss will never forgive us. She does not have to forgive us. She has to inspire people. Finnick confronted Johanna privately. You are turning Katniss into a weapon. She already is one. She is a person. Johanna stepped closer. Snow wins because he knows people hesitate when someone they love is in danger. Peeta is Katniss's weakness. Finnick shook his head. No, Peeta is the reason she remembers what she is fighting for. Johanna ordered him to follow the plan. Inside the arena, the Alliance protected Katniss. Peeta nearly died after striking the force field, but Finnick revived him. Johanna watched Katniss's reaction and realized that Peeta's death might destroy the Mockingjay before the rebellion even began. She reluctantly adjusted the plan. When BT attempted to break the force field, the careers attacked. Chaos divided the Alliance. Katniss fired an electrified arrow into the arena dome. The force field collapsed. District 13's hovercraft arrived. Johanna reached the extraction point first. She saw Katniss unconscious beside BT. Finnick arrived moments later. Peeta was nowhere in sight. Johanna had seconds to decide. Leave him, she ordered. Finnick refused to board. Johanna struck him and dragged him into the hovercraft. The capital captured Peeta. It also captured Enobaria and several other surviving victors. Johanna's rebellion had begun. Katniss awakened without Peeta. the leader of District 13. In the original history of Panem, President Alma Coin led District 13. In this reality, Johanna had spent years preparing for war. Her network controlled rebel communications, transportation routes, and many of the victors. Coin offered Johanna a position within the military leadership. Johanna refused to serve beneath her. "You hid underground while the districts suffered," Johanna said. "Now you want to control the rebellion because it has become possible to win," Coin replied calmly. District 13 preserved the resources necessary for that victory. You preserved yourselves. Their conflict divided the rebellion. Coin controlled the weapons. Johanna controlled the people willing to use them. Katniss wanted no part of either leader. She demanded that Peeta and the captured victors be rescued. Johanna argued that an immediate rescue would waste soldiers and expose District 13. Katniss accused her of abandoning Peeta deliberately. Johanna did not deny it. "I chose the person Panem needs. You do not get to choose who matters. Leaders make those choices every day." Katniss stepped toward her. "Then maybe you should not be one." Johanna nearly struck her. Instead, she smiled. "You will wear the Mockingjay uniform, make the broadcasts, and give people hope. I will make the decisions that actually win the war." Katniss refused. Johanna threatened to continue the rebellion without her. Katniss answered that a rebellion led by Johanna might not deserve to win. Will Johanna become worse than the Capitol? Find out in Part 2.